Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
You make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
She's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Katherine Gray.
Hi, welcome to Live, Love, Thrive Women's Empowerment Hour. I just got back from my honeymoon and I'm happy to be back on the set with my wonderful guest here today, Angela Setters-Bessard. And I hope that you are following our conversation on our Facebook and, of course, on Instagram and Twitter at My360Karma. As you know, every week we have on extraordinary women, and today is no different. I just love what this woman is doing in the world of credit, helping people build their credit for their personal growth and for business opportunities. I don't think there's a lot of people in that space that are doing it the way she's doing it, and she's been doing it for 25 years. I'm so honored to have on Angela Setters-Bessard.
Hi,
Angela.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing
Good.
great, and it's an honor to be on your show today. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm one to always delve into someone's backstory because I always like to know what motivates them to do what they're doing. And you so boldly shared with me your background.
Yes.
And, with the Me Too movement going on, I think it's really so bold of women to step up and really say, hey, I'm one of those people. And you and I had that open, honest conversation that you shared with me. And I know that you took it like what happened to you, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, as something that you took to make yourself more resilient.
Absolutely.
And you're such an inspiration when you share your story about how that actually helped you be a more resilient person. So let's talk a little bit about that because gosh knows there's so many listeners out there with a similar story.
Absolutely.
I know personally in my life, I have people in my life that have had the story that you had, and that was you left home at 16 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Were on your own. Mm-hmm. But the reason you left, I'll let you share that.
Mm-hmm. The reason I left was really I had a really, really tough circumstance at my home.
Yeah.
My stepfather wasn't the greatest, and my mother was actually always traveling. She was a huge executive for a huge company, so she wasn't home a lot. And unfortunately, with what happened with my stepfather, I just needed to leave.
Yeah.
It was time for me to leave. But what I shared with you was, I feel like what happens is that when something like that happens to us, it steals something inside.
Right. And it leaves some people feeling like they can't mend that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it took me a time.
Yeah.
It wasn't
it
something
didn't happen overnight.
And honestly, my husband was really instrumental in helping me heal from those wounds that were inflicted upon my personhood.
Yes.
And who I was developing to be.
Wow. He sounds like a wonderful guy.
He is a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't say enough about him.
Yeah.
But what I learned later on in life was that it created a fighter in me.
Right.
Someone who doesn't know what quit means.
Yeah.
And I use that not just in my business, but also being a mother, also being a friend.
Mm-hmm. And on behalf of other people.
Yes.
I love that you use it in your business to help fight for other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Being tenacious, being persistent, not taking the no answer. And yes, that is what makes our company successful in working for people, is that we take hard and difficult situations and we say, there's got to be something there that can make this work. And we're going to turn over every rock until we find it.
Right. I've heard so many good things about you firsthand about helping people to build their credit. And sometimes, maybe talking about building credit is taboo. People don't want to talk about it. They're embarrassed about it,
Yes.
I feel like there's not that many entities out there where people have a safe space. They don't want to tell a friend. They don't want to confide in somebody. When they do confide in them, it tends to be people that are like in it for the wrong reasons. And there's certainly people out there saying, "Hey, I can help you with your credit," but they're just really taking your money. And I mean, I think people have all had those experiences.
Sure.
So to know that there's somebody out there that genuinely for the past 25 years has been helping people build their credit for the right reason, and that is because you truly want to help people do that for their own personal building of their wealth for retirement and financial freedom, and to help build their business. Just having credit, good credit, gives people peace of mind, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And understanding that the system is not there to hurt you. It's actually there to help you. You know, credit is an investment tool to build wealth.
Right.
But traditionally what's happened is that most people learn by default. They learn because it happens to them. Something happens to them because no one taught them. So, you know, we don't learn these things in school.
So maybe they have a bankruptcy, or they, you know,
it can be as little as someone having one-time late payment.
a late payment, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe.
And it brings to some people,
Such
most
angst.
people,
Yeah.
it brings angst, but it also brings
Shame.
some sort of shame.
Yes.
Yes. And what I try to do as a professional and someone who really cares about my clients, every single one that I'm able to touch, because really that's what it is. I get an opportunity. Every time someone comes to me, it's a new opportunity to touch someone else's life.
Well, the reason I wanted to have you on too is because, like I said, I feel like it doesn't have a good reputation. The people that help build credit, it's usually, honestly, it seems to be really shyster business, and it's a tough niche for you to be in.
It is.
But if people, I wanted people to hear your backstory so they just know how genuine you are in wanting to help people and what you've been doing for 25 years with integrity and honesty and kindness. I love this pin you got me, and that it's purple for kindness. It just speaks of who you are.
Well, also, and it's the owl because you're such a wise person.
Oh, thank you.
Don't forget that
I hope
part.
my wife thinks so.
I bet she does. I bet she does.
Well, thank you for that. And it takes one to know one. And I love this saying, this quote that you have on your emails from Nelson Mandela. I never lose.
Yes.
I either win or learn.
Absolutely.
And I love that because I really do feel that. I feel that it's so true. Like whatever we do, we either win or we learn something by not winning, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm always in that place no matter what happens in life.
Yeah.
I'm always looking at it, even if something negative happens. Okay, what can I do to learn from this situation? Because it happened for a reason.
Right.
And
that goes with people having this credit issue.
Absolutely.
Like what could they learn from it, and how can they improve it? And you're that person that can take them by the hand and show them, here's how you improve it.
Absolutely.
Can anyone improve their credit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
So
just
there's
have
no
to have the
situation
will.
that it's like, oh, forget it, you're hopeless.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I get calls like that all the time. Like, oh, you're never going to be able to help me. I mean, I'm a train wreck. That's what people will say.
Yeah.
I say, okay, I understand how you feel. Let's look at your situation and come up with a plan.
Right.
Because that's the thing. My husband always says we either have a plan or we plan to fail.
Right.
And so
Well, no plan is a plan to fail. for
Right,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the thing is that I think where I'm different and I want to separate myself from the masses that practice this is that what I want to do is help my clients understand how they can have health and wealth with their credit, how they can teach it to their children and their grandchildren. Because the thing is that this new generation that's coming up, they are actually ruining our credit system. That is there to actually help entrepreneurs, help people become investors, help you sustain your wealth. And what's happening is that we've got all these apps, right? Now, I gave this example simply because I had this situation on my own.
Yeah.
I have a coffee app on my phone.
Yes.
And I'm addicted to vanilla lattes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so my bookkeeper came to me and she says, who is spending $250 on vanilla lattes? And I was like,
Oh.
that was me.
Right.
But the thing is that it's so easy.
Yes.
All you do is click the app.
Right.
And you add more money.
Right.
And that's what's happening to these children of this generation. All they do is click, 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 click.
Right.
There's no accountability to their clicking.
Interesting.
And no one is teaching them how to have accountability.
And I can imagine this is impacting adults too.
Oh, well,
because
of course.
Everybody's clicking.
Someone's got to pay the bill.
Yeah, click, click. Everybody's clicking. I was wondering where you were going with that. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it makes it too easy.
It makes it too easy.
Yeah.
And then most of the applications are, these cash applications where they're not really understanding the value of money and credit.
Perfect example is Uber. I'm a big Lyft and Uber fan. So let's say I Lyft and, then I go somewhere in another city and I can't get a Lyft and I have to take a cab. And it's like, oh, right, I got to pay for this.
Yes.
And then I'm like, oh, $25,
Right.
But when you're just clicking it, it's like, oh, they'll come
Out
pick
of
me
sight,
up. They'll take
out of
me.
mind.
Yeah. So even that in our culture is something that we're all using. So
But
we don't have to drink and drive, or
the
we don't
kids
have to deal with
more
traffic.
than anything.
Yeah.
And what I say is that let's teach our children, because this is the next generation that's going to be running this country, right? They need to know and understand the system.
Right.
So someone needs to come in and say, okay, let's sit you down.
Right.
Let's open up a checking account. Let's get you a credit card at the age of 16.
Yeah.
Let's
Isn't it
have-
interesting that we don't teach these things in school?
Absolutely.
They teach history, math,
it's a
science,
crime.
but not, the necessary tools to manage your financial life.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they're starting to. I've heard some, they're creating some entrepreneurial programs now in colleges, and but in high school, grade school, they should be teaching these things about
Absolutely.
credit and
Well, this
and
is one of
financial
my
planning.
passions, is that I want to get out into the community and I want to teach kids between the ages of 16 and 24.
Right.
The value system that they need to have, because
Right.
they're so interested in what's going on right now.
Right.
And they don't look at 20 years from now.
Right.
And, adults do the same thing.
Yes.
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 What do? We live to pay our bills.
Yeah.
We don't have a plan. We don't, like you said, have retirement.
Right.
And it's so easy to get caught up when you don't have your eye on the prize.
Right.
Do
Do you help people with that financial planning, or do you just basically focus on building their credit?
I focus on repairing people's credit, helping them pay down debt, helping them get out of debt. I help businesses. I just helped a business that was going through a merger and acquisition. We helped to repair their business credit, build their business credit, so that the company that they were merging with was satisfied with that, because they wouldn't actually merge with them until that was finished.
Oh, and then also individuals like, let's say they're young or any age and they want to buy a home or even get a car or whatever. It depends on the credit, what interest rate you're going to get. Speaking of the interest rate, I really love the story about how you actually got into this business.
Yes.
So you left at 16, you were working 3 jobs. One of them was working for
A mortgage company.
It
It was a bank.
A bank. And tell me that story, because I want you to share that with everybody. It's how you got
Absolutely.
started.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I used to work, is it okay to say the name of the company?
I don't know.
They're not in business anymore. They
Okay.
were a bank.
Yeah.
Bottom line is that they were a subprime bank back in the S&L age. Now,
Which
we
is
have
savings and loan.
right,
Yeah.
but we have no idea the interest rate. I mean, 19% interest rates on
gosh.
home loans.
Oh, my
Can
gosh.
you imagine?
Do you think we'll ever get back to that?
I hope not. God
Yeah, I
help
hope
us.
not too. I know people are like freaking out that it went from 4 to 5. I'm like, remember it used to be double digits? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah. Hello.
Yeah. So what happened is that we had a BCD program. There was no A paper borrowers there. So everyone had some sort of trouble, but they were all getting loans. And what happened was I started as a receptionist and I moved my way up to being an underwriter.
I love that.
And what would happen is I understood the system and how they were putting them in these programs. And so what I would simply do is tell my client, hey, you should do X, Y, and Z. You'll get in our B program instead of our D program. Well, I did that for about 10 months.
Which meant they'd be paying a lesser interest rate.
Oh, yeah, much less.
Yeah.
Yeah, like from 19% to, let's say, 15.
Right.
I still a lot.
Yeah, still,
but
yeah.
it was a big jump. So I did that for about 10 months, and then one day I got called into the office by my boss, and he said, "I'm sorry, I have to let you go."
Oh my gosh.
And I said, "Why?" And he says, "You know." And I knew.
Yeah.
Because I was helping the clients.
Right.
And, you know, it was taking away from the bank's business.
Unbelievable.
But, you know, as much as it hurt at that time, that was my destiny.
So I'm not going to feel bad that they're out of business now.
No. Yeah, no.
Yeah. But there are plenty in business who are still doing this to people that don't have credit. And that's
it's
why it's
very
so
hard
important
now.
for them to have credit.
Yes.
So if there's one message we want to get out there is that anybody can repair their credit, they need to put their focus on it and get with someone like yourself. And what is your website?
It's conquercredit.com.
So conquercredit.com is something that you started 25 years ago after working for this bank because you realized that you wanted to start your own company that did the ethical way.
Yes. Yeah, that I really
And you started in your home at a little desk,
little
and now you have a
cardboard
huge
table.
team. And, yeah,
Yeah.
that is the best way to start. And you were so passionate about it from the get-go.
Yes.
You know, here you were, a straight-A student, working 3 jobs. You worked for this bank. You saw there was something that needed wrong that needed to be right, and you looked at that as a business opportunity to help people, but you know, and make a living from that, which is a great thing when you get to do what you're passionate about, which you really love, which I can tell you do.
I do.
You really dig helping people build their credit.
You know what's cool is getting to see someone who is so anxious when they call you. They really are dreading pulling the trigger, and being able to call them and say, "Hey, guess what? This happened."
Yeah.
And feeling the air just come out of them like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That really happened?"
Yeah.
You know?
In other words, that something positive happened to boost their credit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of a euphoric feeling
Yeah.
for me. And even the girls that work with me and my husband, I mean, we just love whenever we have a success, we have a bell inside of our office and someone rings it, and we are all excited, you know, about the success for the client. And now the thing is that not everybody is in a position right now to be helped.
Right.
But I think what we do is we provide a place of hope.
Right.
So, okay, maybe you're not ready right now,
Right.
but let's have a plan of you're going to be ready in a year. And this is
Right.
what you need to do to build yourself up
To
so
get
that
there.
in a year, you're
Yeah.
ready to pull the trigger.
Right.
You're ready to start repairing your credit. You're ready to buy a house in 3 years.
Right.
Things like that. And speaking of that, one of the things that you were talking about was interest rates. People don't really realize, everybody's always worried about the payment. What's my payment? They don't get caught up in what the interest rate is that's tied to that payment. And just a single point of interest on a home, let's say in Los Angeles, that's, let's just say $600,000. Over 30 years, you can save almost $200,000 on a loan if you have a better FICO score.
Wow.
What could you do with $200,000?
Yeah. Oh
You
my
know?
gosh. Yeah. That's
Put
huge.
that in an account. And I mean, it's just
Yeah, have
it's
it for
crazy
retirement. Yeah.
that people don't think this way. You know, that I'm paying so much interest on my car. I'm paying so much interest on my credit cards. When you combine everything together and you look at the totality of the interest that you pay because you're not in a specific bracket with your FICO score,
Right.
it's sickening.
You're right. Right. So it's important for people to focus on that FICO score and how to improve it.
Yes,
And it is more simple than they think it is.
absolutely.
But it's a matter of putting a game plan together and putting a focus on it. I always say, whatever you focus on, whether it's building credit, losing weight,
Absolutely.
you know, creating wealth, whatever it is, you focus on it. What is it? Where the attention goes, grows.
Absolutely.
Right.
And speaking about actually losing weight, I have lost 57 pounds
Wow.
in the last 9 months.
Oh my gosh.
And really, like you said, it's about focus.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
it's
made up
about-
your mind, you have a game plan. It
and
didn't
it's
just
about
happen.
commitment. Yeah, it's about commitment. And my
Yes.
husband and I did it together. We made a decision. this is time. It's time for us to change our lives and be more healthy.
Yeah.
And it was from actually my mom's husband, her stepfather, not the other one.
Yeah.
But he is actually very involved in like intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet and things like that. And it's really been a great lifestyle and has really helped me to see that I can have a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
So, you know, and I really needed to do that too because I'm a leader.
Yeah.
And I need to walk the walk and talk the talk in everything that I do.
Right. I like that. I know we talked about you could give some tips today to people about how they could improve their credit.
Well, I want to give some tips on how they can improve their credit, but I also want to point out something that's super important. Identity theft is the #1 crime in America right now.
Yeah, you know, I just had my credit card stolen this week. Had to get a new one. Somebody started charging airline tickets on it, and I mean, it happens to everybody. But when you say identity theft, are you talking about their entire identity?
Entire identity or credit cards or whatnot. And the reason for that is that everything we do now is online.
Yes, it's scary.
All of our information is exposed. I mean, you go to the doctor's office, what's the thing that they ask you for? All of your information, your social security number. When you think about how much of your information is out there at so many banks and financial institutions and how exposed you are.
Right.
There is no system, there is no company that can protect you. They can alert you and let you know that something's going on.
Right.
But you have to be the driver of your own ship. You need to know what's on your credit. You need to be aware of what's happening.
How do people do that? They pull their credit every quarter? Or?
Well, there are tons of different systems that allow you to monitor your credit.
Okay.
There's hundreds of them out there.
Right.
There's
I think
even
you mentioned
free sites.
Experian to me. And
There's Experian. There's Credit Karma is a free site that you can go to. There's tons of them out there.
But sign up with one of them.
Absolutely. We insure our health. We insure our homes. We insure our cars. But we don't insure the one thing that's an asset of ours.
Everyone should have that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And are some better than others?
I really think that as long as you are paying attention and you're looking at the alerts that are coming in, most of them are great.
So they alert you if someone opens an account or...
If you have an inquiry, if someone's looking at your credit, if someone's pulling your credit,
you get an alert.
Know. Absolutely. You get an alert. I was speaking at a seminar yesterday, and I asked
And
the
you
room,
got an alert? No, I'm just kidding.
I got an alert. Excuse me, I gotta go. No, but I said in the room, I said, who in here is monitoring your credit? 2 hands went up.
Wow.
And I said, wow. You know, when I was finished, of course.
I think people wonder if those are bogus.
They're not.
You know, but they're not. Okay.
No,
Sorry.
absolutely. They're not bogus. And really, again, it's one of the things that people always say, oh, that's not going to happen to me.
I see. And it probably happens to 20% of people or maybe more.
It's a huge number.
Huge.
I mean,
I heard it's going to grow too.
Absolutely. As the internet continues to boom and people are not using checks anymore or cash or anything like that, everything is digital.
Right. So one thing people should do if they do nothing else after this show is they should sign up for a credit alert for
Credit monitoring company.
Monitoring. Okay. And then they should put the focus on how do they build their FICO score.
So one of the things that you have to have is you at least need to have 2 revolving credit cards, okay? Now, there is a difference between revolving debt and installment debt. Installment debt is like a contract, okay? Let's say I lease a car.
Okay.
The car is 36 months, the payment is X, and then the contract matures.
And that doesn't help your credit as much as...
Correct. Yeah. It doesn't help your credit as much as a revolving credit card, because a revolving credit card is really a system that helps banks and financial institutions understand how you leverage your cash position.
So this would be like a Chase Sapphire card or
Any
some
credit
sort of...
card.
Any credit card that isn't a fixed contract like a car lease or what about a home mortgage?
That's also installment credit.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So it's important to have the revolving as well.
You have to
Most
have
people
it.
today, I think, have that, but
Oh,
I guess
you'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
You would be surprised. I work with a lot of high net worth individuals that, because they have money, don't think that they need credit cards.
Oh,
and
how
the bank,
interesting.
And the bank says, look, we need to have that number. We need to have a FICO score. Because traditionally, how many times have we seen so many people with a lot of money end up that don't have it in a couple of years? So the banks have to have a system to assess risk. And this is the way that they do it, is
Right.
through this FICO scoring system.
Right. Well, thank you so much. This has been so helpful.
Absolutely.
I just love that you create a special safe space for women to come who need to build their credit. It's conquercredit.com. You're out of Calabasas, but you help people all over the world. And you've been doing this for 25 years. And I just love that there's a honest powerhouse woman out there that cares about helping women build their credit. So I appreciate having you on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And we will see you all back here next week, Wednesdays at noon, here live on Live, Love, Thrive. Make it a great week. Hugs and happiness.